Good afternoon. This is Parmesan Baral. I'm going to make a presentation on Vinay and the double net. We will be talking about the methodology for translation. I am Parmesan Baral, one of the students of Nepal Open University, and the earlier part of this video has already been prepared by one of my friends, Nirmala Raut, and the remaining part is what I am going to make the presentation. And without any delay, I'm going to make the tags presented in front of you, which I'm supposed to do. And the third one is the literal translation. And whenever we talk about literal translation, then the thing that automatically haunts in our mind is word for word translation. Sometimes it is called meta phrase, and uh, especially literal translation is perfect if those two languages, that is source language and the target language, are very near to each other. As for example, like Hindi or English language, sorry, Hindi or Nepali language, and according to Binay and the double net, literal translation can only be applied with those languages which are extremely close in cultural terms. But it is acceptable only if the translated text retains the same syntax, same meaning, and the same style as that of the original text. And the example is like in Hindi language and Nepali language, "Aapne khana khaya," which is in Hindi language, and it can be translated as "Tapaile khana khanu bhayo." This is an example of literal translation. In the same manner, they talk about the fourth strategy is the transposition. And whenever we talk about transposition is one of the techniques of replacing or shifting one word. That is, it might be word class that be let's say content words, noun, verb, adjective, adverb with another without changing the meaning of the message. Normally, it deals with the grammatical or structural changes in the translation, and normally we can find two types of transpositions, that is obligatory and the optional transposition. Let me talk about the obligatory transposition. And the obligatory transposition is normally done when the target language has no other choices because of the language system that requires the translator to do some grammatical changes in order to be readable and grammatically accepted to the target language readers. On the other hand, the optional transposition is the tags in which translator choice and what they can use it when it is necessary for better style of translation even within a language. For example, she gave her mother a kiss. Semantically, it is the same as she kissed her mother, but within this there is difference. The difference is that in the former word, the kiss is a noun, but in the later word, kiss is a verb. Let me give you another example from our own context. Ram milks the cow, one sentence, and the ram drinks the milk. In the first sentence, the word milk is used as the verb, and in the second example, the word milk has been used as the noun. Such are the examples of transposition. And the fifth technique that they talk is modulation. Modulation is presenting the target language text from different point of view to that of the source language text. Thus, the shift in the point of view, that is positive or negative or active or passive, that is changed in the form of the text, but the meaning remains the same. That is a way of transposition or a way of transforming the meaning. And modulation is a procedure which becomes necessary when the results of the former procedure of the translations produce an acquired sounding translation despite being grammatically, syntactically, and lexically correct. And normally it is done due to the different perspectives, viewpoint, mindset, and sometimes the target language readers can't take the translated meaning in the same way as the source language readers do. And in such a context, modulation is necessary. And we can talk about fixed modulation, which is confirmed fixed by the dictionaries, and the free modulation. Pre-modulation rests on the artistic unique choice of the translator to provide the nearest equivalence. And this fact can be exemplified. It's easy to understand, can be modulated by, it is not difficult to understand. In the first sentence, easiness is focused, but in the later one, fear of difficulty is focused, even though both of those two sentences mean the same thing. And the penultimate one is the equivalence. And equivalence is a process of replicating the same situation by using totally different words where translator looks for equivalent term for similar situation and uses the expression. For example, in English language, ouch is replaced by aya in Nepali language because both of these indicate the painful situation or fear, feeling of the pain. And the equivalence is the translation of idioms, mostly where two languages refer to the same situation in totally different ways. It might cover different stylistic and structural methods in rendering a similar situation. Some words and expressions have different meaning in one language but differ meaning in the other language. It's raining cats and dogs in English language means musoldhare barsa bhaireko cha, but they mean the same thing. But in English language there is a word crafty, which is a person who is clever enough to run his life. But if the same word is translated into Nepali language, then it becomes dhurta, which is a person who does bad thing to earn the money. So such kind of things can also be found, and as a translator, we need to be quite clear or cautious on those kind of things. And the last one is adaptation. Adaptation is a process of adjusting in a new cultural environment, and it is somehow similar to equivalent in the way that the translator here also seeks to render the source language text into target language text with equivalent substitution. And when he feels that it is as relevant and meaningful as in the original, only at that time adaptation is done. So adaptation is a procedure of translation which is used in those cases where the type of situation is being referred to by the source language is assumed as unknown in the target language culture and just used in plays, poetries, movies, etc. Here, translator replaces a social or cultural reality of a source text within the corresponding reality in the target text. It is found mostly in the titles of the films, books, advertisements, television commercials, etc. To put into it into other words, in adaptation, something specific to the source text is expressed in a totally different way that is familiar or appropriate to the target language culture. Cultural substitution or the cultural equivalence. For example, translating the scene of marriage in the context of Western to Eastern culture or vice versa. Let me exemplify this. Suppose during the marriage ceremony, a bride is supposed to put on red garments or red clothing in Hindu culture. But if the same cannot be considered towards the next culture, let's say Christian culture, where white clothing is an obligatory phenomenon. So, adaptation, the proper name does not fall into this category. For example, adaptation of Western culture name to the Eastern culture like noodle, chow chow, biscuit, etc. Though it helps to make the text familiar and comprehensive. Thank you. This much. Have a